Welcome to KEDEHub, your knowledge-centric capability assessment solution. Boost your engineering team's happiness and productivity with our knowledge-centric insights, backed by patented technology. Only a few companies are mature enough to measure their capability objectively. Yours is such a company, if it is a safe place and has the courage to see the information that KEDEHub will reveal. That is not a small thing. Engineering managers need to meet expectations. A capable software development team produces predictable results consistently over time. Hence, the goal is your team to have stable, predictable capability. For that, you need the ability to objectively answer questions like, what is the capability of your team compared with the average level in the company? Did the latest reorg increase the capability of your team? Did the Agile transformation increase the capability of your team? Did the new recruits increase the capability of your team? What is the problem with quantifying the capability of a software development team? In one word, measurement. We have the solution for you. KEDEHub is a software development capability management system. We measure the capability of software development organizations using the scientifically backed and patented metric Knowledge Discovery Efficiency, or KEDE. KEDE reflects the capability of software developers to efficiently discover and apply knowledge. KEDEHub allows you to ground your efforts in meeting expectations by objectively and scientifically answer questions regarding what is the current capability of your organization and how it was affected by the new recruits, the Agile transformation, or the latest reorg. On top of that, KEDEHub can reveal the historical capability of your company. KEDEHub is a software as a service (SaaS) platform. It has three major functional parts: analysis of Git repositories, KEDE calculation, and visual presentation of the results. KEDEHub is engineered to work without storing code content. The analysis is performed on local clones of Git repositories. That is why there are no developer interruptions. No software applications installed on developers' computers. No additional inputs from developers needed. No consent from developers needed. The source code in your repositories always stays on your premises. We never make a copy of the contents of a repository. KEDEHub guarantees there will be no transfer of source code into KEDEHub database from the Git repositories that are analyzed. No transfer of commit messages into KEDEHub database from the Git repositories that are analyzed. No analysis of the source code to capture your intellectual property. No analysis of the commit messages. KEDE calculation is the heart of KEDEHub. It is based on the one and only scientific method for measuring capability of software development organizations. The technology is patented. After KEDE is calculated, it is presented in visual formats. There are many reports ready for use to compare the capability of developers, projects, teams, and even companies. To check what is the capability of your team, and compare it with the average level in the company, KEDEHub offers two reports. First is a time series of aggregated weekly KEDE values for a team, and a selected period. On the x-axis we have the week dates. On the y-axis we have weekly KEDE values. Each of the team's individual developers' aggregated weekly KEDE is presented as a colored dot on the diagram. The dark blue line is the average weekly KEDE for all developers on the team. The historical capability of the company is presented by the aggregated weekly KEDE of all company developers who contributed during the selected time period. Each such individual developer's aggregated weekly KEDE is presented as a light gray dot. The black line is the average weekly KEDE for those developers. Along with the time series of teams' capability, it's very useful to see a histogram of the underlying frequency distribution. A frequency distribution shows how often each different value in a set of data occurs. On the x-axis, we have the weekly KEDE. On the y-axis, we have the percentage of each KEDE value. The team's capability is presented by the histogram in color. The red vertical line is the average weekly KEDE for the team. The median weekly KEDE is presented by the green vertical dashed line. The summarized historical capability of the company as a whole is presented by the histogram in gray. It shows the weekly KEDE frequency of all company developers who contributed during the selected time period. The black vertical line is the average weekly KEDE of all those developers. You can also compare the capability of your team to other teams in the company. This diagram shows a time series of weekly KEDE values for two teams for a selected period across all projects. Each team's average capability is presented by a dark blue line. On both diagrams, the black line is the average weekly KEDE for the company. We see that the first team's average capability is higher than the company average. The second team's average capability is less than the company average. Along with the time series of the capability of the teams, it's very useful to see histograms of the underlying frequency distributions. Each team's average capability is presented by the red vertical line. The median capability is presented by the green vertical dashed line. The vertical black line is the average capability for the company. For the first team, both the median and the average capability are higher than the company average capability. The median and the average of the second team are less than the company average. You can also inspect the capability of a team member over time. This diagram presents a time series of the capability of a developer for a selected period across all projects. On the x-axis we have the week dates. On the y-axis we have weekly KEDE values. The developer's capability for each week is presented with a blue dot on the diagram. The dark blue line is the average capability of the developer. Then you are interested to compare the developer's capability with the average capability of your company. That is presented by the weekly KEDE for all developers who contributed to any of the company projects during the selected time period. Each such individual developer's weekly capability is presented as a light gray dot. The black line is the average weekly capability for those developers. Along with the time series of the capability, it's very useful to see a histogram of the underlying frequency distribution. A frequency distribution shows how often each different value in a set of data occurs. On the x-axis you have the weekly KEDE. On the y-axis you have the percentage of each particular value. The developer's summarized capability is presented by the histogram in color. The blue vertical line is the average weekly capability. The median weekly capability is presented by the green vertical dashed line. The summarized capability of all other company developers, who contributed to all other company projects during the same time period, is presented by the histogram in gray. The black vertical line is the average weekly capability of all other developers. The median weekly capability is presented by the red vertical dashed line. You can also check how the capability of a team member is distributed across projects. This diagram presents a stacked bar chart, which allows for looking at numeric values across two categorical variables. Here the first category is developers' weekly KEDE, and the second category are the projects the same developer worked on during the selected time period. On the x-axis we have the week dates. On the y-axis we have weekly KEDE. Each bar is the weekly KEDE of the selected developer, divided into a number of boxes, each one corresponding to the fraction of the weekly KEDE that the developer contributed for a particular project. Along with the bar chart, it's very useful to check the underlying frequency distribution. A frequency distribution shows how often each different value in a set of data occurs. This diagram presents a histogram of weekly averaged KEDE values for a selected period. On the x-axis we have the weekly KEDE. On the y-axis we have the percentage of each particular value. Each of the projects the developer worked on is with a different color. This way we have several histograms, one per each of the projects the developer worked on. The red vertical line is the average weekly capability for the developer. The median weekly capability is presented by the green vertical dashed line. You can also check how the waste removed by a team member is distributed across projects. This diagram presents a stacked bar chart, which allows for looking at numeric values across two categorical variables. Here the first category is the waste the developer removed in a week, and the second category are the projects the same software developer worked on during the selected time period. On the x-axis we have the week dates. On the y-axis we have weekly removed waste. Each bar is the weekly waste of the selected developer divided into a number of boxes. Each box corresponds to the fraction of the weekly waste that the developer removed for a particular project. If you want to use KEDEHub in your company, please visit the KEDEHub.io website.